Tox taking on CNZ is up next. As we continue on here in Week 7 of the Quake Pro League, we've had some exciting things already, some interesting champion picks, some exhilarating matchups, but what comes next? What are you expecting out of this one?
Ooh. Again, we were talking about it before, about like the Tox whole confidence thing, trying to break down players that way. Very much about confidence for him, but I'm feeling really positive about CNZ lately. I think he's just been showing some really solid Quake. I think he's starting to make a good name for himself. Before the Quake Pro League, I think CNZ was someone that a good amount of the community was kind of familiar with the name, but they didn't really know what to associate with success-wise. And now CNZ is kind of stripping confidence away from these other good players in the Quake Pro League. People are now kind of understanding what his limitations are, and actually whether or not there are any limitations, because he's been extraordinarily strong, showing a dynamic game style, and doesn't really seem to get shaken when you'd expect most people to fall under pressure, especially when thinking back to Italy. He looked really comfortable playing his games, despite not having as much LAN experience as other people in the circuit. So yeah, full of positives from CNZ.
Yeah, definitely feel like he's been going from strength to strength, and he is going to need all of the strength he can muster up getting into the game here versus Tox, because as you said, Tox, he feeds off of that early game confidence.
Yeah.
He needs to come into the server hot off the presses, absolutely swinging. If he doesn't net himself that opening frag, or at least one of the first few, you start to see him drop off a little bit. It's almost as if he reassures himself the more frags he gets.
Yeah, but when he is on, this is some of the most incredible stuff that you will ever watch. I'm sure the majority of people watching are like, yeah, we know, we want to see it already, but you just got to say, for anyone out there who does not know what this man is about, this is a part of esports history. He is a gem of the industry, in my opinion, and he just does some phenomenal things. His name kind of resonates, I think, around the world as a whole in all things video games.
Oh yeah, it's also the fact that he has basically a Circus du Soleil style of movement into the game. He is high flying, he will be launching himself all over the gaff, he'll be moving like a lightning bolt zoo. Incredibly talented when it comes down to not only his aiming and his game sense, but just his raw mechanics.
Yeah.
That's the extra level of excellence.
And that's why for CNZ, it's like, it's all good being prepared. Oh, I'm prepared to play versus, I don't know, like a Wenger or a Cooler or an Avec or whoever. You can pretty much name literally any player but Tox. But when you know you're going versus Tox, all of a sudden you've got to really think hard about what your strategy is, your game plan going into the match, because it's just a different beast. All of a sudden you know that there is a level of aim dependency for it, but when he starts to be consistent, it's all of a sudden unlike anybody else. And so you just got to train yourself to not be scared.
Well, let's see if the picks and bans
it's as easy as that.
Scare us as we kick this one off. And we do have them on screen now. Awoken, Molten, and Ruins being our three maps for this series, Zoo.
Well, we aren't going to be getting the Slash from Tox, despite him having the first ban. I think he was hoping that he'd maybe get towards a Slash on the second map, so we won't get that. That's the main thing I've been looking out for the moment. But Awoken with a Galena versus a Doom. Still a good level of mobility from Tox, has got a lot of room for potential, seeing as they're maybe looking to have a bit more of an anchored out defensive, grow from the triple totems. Tox can be quite scary with a Nyx though, especially when you have those surprise attacks. It is versus a Visor though, so there's some caveats there, but another classic matchup. I think Molten Force could be tremendously exciting, but Tox will be able to show us something other than VQ3 movement with Sorlag, but it's going versus a BJ, so CNZ really setting himself up for like intense burst damage versus the heavily stacked Sorlag herself. So I actually feel kind of good about Tox's champions, but I think that CNZ this whole stage, I think, has been just giving me quite a lot of confidence in him. So when pushed, would probably pick CNZ in this series.
Who do you think is more confident out of the two, though?
I think CNZ, actually.
You think he's definitely got the extra edge
feeling better. The thing is, I haven't seen the real, authentic, confident Tox in some time.
Right.
Especially for like the entire duration of a series. If he wakes up out of his long winter sleep, then, you know, this is going to be a match to remember.
Well, let's see if the hibernation is over, and if his time spent in the hyperbolic time chamber has allowed Tox to return to his once previous grace. As we do delve into it, Awoken is on the cards as our opening map here between Tox and CNZ. Can he make the Black 100 proud, Zoot?
Yeah, just recently joining that, actually. Was announced a couple of weeks back, I believe. Nice to have an org to represent and an old school Russian org. Yeah. It's again more roots of esports history here that we're having on the server. It's fantastic to see.
Oh yeah, this one is going to be a bit of a history lesson. But there is no fossils in play. Both of them still very well versed in the art of Quake. Nearly a minute past, no real confrontation between the two. Both of them taking it very slow, not wanting to put a wrong foot forward or make the first mistake.
Tox finally getting his hands on the rail, a minute in. It feels like CNZ's trying to set up his totems. The last 10 seconds I haven't seen him use it, but we can see that the cooldown by the character portrait has been triggered. So I can't quite see though on the x-ray where they are. Okay, wait, there's one looking on the ceiling. Wait, what?
Wait, how's he got that up there?
I don't know.
How has he done that?
That's one I haven't seen.
That's a sick totem.
I've seen a lot of totems in my time, Jackie.
I haven't seen that one before, though.
I've definitely not seen that.
That's crazy cool. All right, let's see if that comes into play at some point. I'd love to see if we can catch that. If next time he tries to put one of those down, that would be crazy.
So he's got all fortifications now, I think, CNZ.
He's got them all up,
right? He's got 3 totems. Can't he just triple stack now? Like, there he goes. There's the little pocket mega coming in. Tox knows that he's going versus a super stacked Galena, but he's being very, very coy about all this.
Oh, all right. The initiation rail. He tried to go for it. Doesn't stay around too long though for any repercussions to come his way off the back of the miss.
Can we see it? No, it's like on
it's
that
up
pillar.
On the ledge. He'd somehow chucked it on top of the pillar, on the ledge.
I think he's just going to... CNZ might just wait for his cooldown to come off on the totem and then be like, right, well, now I've got so many good things at the moment. Let's now start to be a bit more aggressive. He's got to wait a little longer now since he's lost all of his overstack. So it'll probably be heavy and another... There's some win conditions for CNZ, and he'll certainly wait for them to be triggered. Good rails, though, from Tox. Loads and loads of rail damage.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's endless. First blood has been spilled.
Yeah, that's sick. 3 minutes into the game, but finally CNZ overextends, and as soon as you give Tox an opportunity, he is going to run away with it. This man does not mess about. All of the rails are coming out right now. Look at him go! Oh, Tox, this is filth.
Let's have a bit more of that. We're starting to see some confident Tox. He was a little bit, you know, trying to find his feet a bit in this match because of CNZ's defensive play, but we've started to get some good rails. Small string missed, but the damage has been done on Awoken.
Oh, there's the final shot coming through, and we're going to see the fateful, the classic Tox click come out. We very well might, as he tried to reinitiate with the rail in hand. Instead, those switches to the LG. That's a further frag found, as CNZ is now CN dead.
That was so much LG damage too. And CNZ, I think, mistimed the Mega, because, well, he was stood there for so long anyway. I believe that roof totem disappeared based on how many CNZ had been putting up. But now CNZ is forced to stop this strategy where he just sits and waits in the power-up room. He's got to be the one who's proactive. And I think Tox is going to enjoy playing versus that style a lot more when he knows when to sort of expect that fight.
Mega claimed. It is going to be the fight over the heavy, but CNZ lands on top of it, and it will be able to soak a majority of damage done from the rail. Drops another totem as well. Up on the ledge, but I think he should be laid out and put to rest here, really, if Tox can connect this final shot. A near miss coming across. The rocket's going to fly in, but CNZ's restocked himself. Won't matter, though, as there's the killing spree, as Tox brings himself up to 5.
These LG to rail combos are absolutely vicious. CNZ not ready for this level. And, oh, hello. Thank you, Tox, for getting rid of that for me.
That was convenient.
Big rockets, that's going to be one more there from Tox. Now showing us the sort of caliber he has on pretty much all big weapons here in Quake Champions.
Oh. You can barely see much of him there, but it doesn't matter. Expose yourself even slightly, and Tox is going to be able to land the shot. Sucker punches him, and then follows it up with a rocket to leave him laid out on the ground. Quick flick shot coming through. won't actually connect, but at least that's the mega scavenge. They're both going to fight once again towards the heavy. CNZ will pick it up, but it doesn't really mean too much in the grand scheme of things. He's so low here. Tox can capitalize.
It's important for Tox now. He's been great at it this entire game, not overextending at all, playing his side of the map, challenging for big items. He's really got to stick to that strategy. It's not even about finishing the kills or anything like that. It's just ensuring you don't give up that control, you don't give away easy kills. 7-0 should be perfectly defendable to the end of the time.
Yeah, I mean, if you're already having this good of a run, you don't really need to take any risks. As you said, you can just play it safe and play quite defensive. He is getting slapped down a little bit more now. The confidence is starting to come out. Yeah, I don't think he spotted it.
Yeah, it's down in the water. We've started seeing those totems a little bit more frequently as of late. Good rocket. CNZ should be able to get himself in pretty soon, but they're denied by that closing rail. CNZ was curious for the last bit of damage, but ultimately fell flat.
Tox with a mega, replenishing his stack. Still got 5 rails and 3 rockets. And that's more than enough to slay with. Let's see if this trigger-happy lunatic can start doing a bit more damage, though. We're close towards 7 minutes. The rockets are going to be going out. Slows down CNZ on his warpath. The LG's out to slay. I don't know if it's going to be able to do it, but it won't matter, as he's got the railgun, and that's all he needs. A 9th kill has been established now.
And it's the rails off the spawn. He has got the rails still. He has no rockets, no lightning gun, but I don't think that really matters. When he's been hitting rails the way he has been, it's been outrageous.
Oh, wow. That's a nice little bit of damage done as well. Tagging him up with the tri-bolt. The rocket to deny any entry, telling him that he's not coming this way. Big connection with the rail. Switch to the LG through. Both of them basically on mirror image of stack there. Knocked down to 12 HP a pop.
It's just insane lightning gun damage from Tox. His stats must be out of this world at the moment. See you later, Totem. So quick as well. Oh, most senior guy in the Quake Pro League, but his reflexes definitely don't show it.
Oh, he is quick when it comes down to the flicks. 8 minutes now, though. Not a single frag has been mustered up for CNZ. He's just not able to get anything going at all here on Awoken. It's been the Tox show the entire damn time. Finally, he will fall as CNZ gets an opening pick on the board. He's got all 3 totems down. He's got firepower to slay with, and slay, he should be able to. He will do so. Another kill onto Tox. That's 2 now picked up.
Can he get a bit of momentum here? If he can land something, sure. But look at the LG damage he's just taken. His head goes around the corner. It's like 50 damage lightning gun within a split second. You've just got to fear Tox now. And I think that's the part of the game plan that he's not been able to address. Like, how do I handle Tox when he's confident? I don't think a lot of people have an answer for that. There's one more.
Tox. Already ready, tracing through the walls there.
No heavy for you.
Scoped in, hoping to get it. Yeah, that was actually really clean. Denies the pickup on the heavy and gets the kill. So now he's got a 10 frag advantage over CNZ. I don't think much more could go wrong for CNZ here on Awoken.
Maybe this hibernation is actually the thing that Tox needs. You know, he's a Swede. He's kind of well acclimatized to that environment. It's suiting him, man.
Oh yeah, he's definitely had a fika in the morning. Some Cornell Buller. It's got him ready to rumble, and rumble he definitely is.
I love that little nail pop as well. Comboing all of it together. It looks so damn stylish. He's going to finish off with the lightning gun. That's his 13th of the first map. I think this is the Tox that everyone wants to see. It doesn't matter what a scoreline is when he's delivering like this. This guy is such a fan favorite in general.
CNZ backing off as well, not willing to giving a 14th frag away. Will instead stay alive, but he is still going to lose the game, of course. Tox is going to take it. He's had some great games on Awoken as of late, and another one goes under his belt there. 13-2. I mean, wow, a dominant performance and then some.
Yeah, they're absolutely wild stuff from Tox. I think I got everything I wanted from that.
Yeah.
But I wonder now, is it going to continue for the whole series? Because he's been looking good. His LG has been really, really tight. We're getting those good sort of strings of rails. I think when you combine just those two weapons alone, you don't really tend to talk about the rockets as much for Tox, but his skills really are up there. And as soon as he starts delivering with the rockets too, which he has been, it's like, how do you handle this lunacy? And this was such a great start. Those 3 rails in a row. And then finding with the lightning gun. Tight little angle there for the rail. No panic whatsoever. Even tighter angle just then. And the finish. The first 3 minutes, that was totally insane. That's already enough to demoralize you as a player, your whole family, everything.
Even the family dog would just be sad.
Yeah,
after this. Yeah, dominance really on display there from Tox. A lot of early game confidence shown, both of them willing to play very defensive, very calm and collective until they had the right opportunity to strike. As soon as Tox got first blood, that was it. He knew what he had to do from that point forward, and he did it very well. Beautiful display throughout the entire matchup here on Awoken, and it bodes well for the series, but as you said, you never really know. Is this going to be what we get for the next 2 maps straight, or was it a blip? Was it one in a blue moon?
Well, I hope that CNZ's strategy diversifies a little bit more going into the next map. You could see from the beginning he was like, right, I'm going to set up all these crazy totems. I'm going to make sure I've got the weapons. I'm always challenging for that heavy. But then as soon as I think that first string of 3 kills came in, he was like, I don't know what to do anymore. I wasn't prepared to make such a drastic change to my strategy. Yeah. Because all of a sudden he's got to be really confrontational to start coming back from that. And Tox, I mean, that just played entirely into his hands.
It just gave him everything he could have asked for, and at that point, what can you really do, right?
So I'd like CNZ to, use the entire map. Don't just use one side. Obviously, he's not playing Galena anymore, so he's going to have to anyway. Let me check the champions once again. It's Nyx versus Visor. So Visor is going to be able to be fairly proactive anyway with the piercing sight, and I'd like him to maybe just try to get that spam out. Try to block those shots through the hallway, and try to push away that confidence. Try and be a little annoying to Tox. Some piercing sight rails, really, really good for that. For trying to make Tox doubt himself for just a moment. Yeah. That's it could be a huge helping hand for CNZ.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a classic matchup as well. Nyx versus Visor, one of the more sort of staples that we expect to see. Really, the perfect yin and yang combo of both of their active abilities. So. It always provides an interesting game.
Exactly, and it can be really scary for Nyx in particular when she hasn't got her Ghost Walk up, when there is a piercing sight still available, you are about to get farmed. So there's definitely things to watch out for Tox, but if he's hitting like that, and if he's able to maintain a semblance of control, I'm not too worried about him. I think I'm just going to keep cursing players otherwise on the EU side, but I'm feeling really good about Tox all of a sudden.
No, yeah, Tox actually looked very, very, very good going into that, which is hopefully something he can try and keep as a level of consistency. That's all he needs. He is the Terminator. The T-800 showed up on the first one. But will the Drill Sergeant be able to do some damage into map 2? Let's find out, as already there's going to be a huge early game fight. CNZ takes way more damage though, as Tox will get out of there instantly, grabbing the Mega and escaping scot-free.
He's got that rail to work with too. All of a sudden, CNZ's like, no, run away, get away from him. The madman is back at it again. He does somehow escape that last rail shot, but Tox, you can see every single angle that he's trying to find, and you just can't help but think that he's about to hit all of them. Oh, nice shot there from CNZ. That's exactly what the doctor ordered.
Stopwatch. It was clean.
And a great follow-up, actually. Nullifying that Mega Stack, now being able to get himself the heavy. That's great. Tox going in for an aggressive push. Gets the damage, removes the overstack from CNZ. Little bit of a stalemate at the moment, but Tox with no Ghost Walk still has to be just a little careful.
Yeah, that's the downside to the play he made, right? You left yourself now quite susceptible of at the very least 30 seconds before you have that back up. Could come back to bite him in the bottom if we see a full commit from CNZ. Goes for the drop down rail, doesn't actually connect it, but at least is able to stay in position to grab the Mega.
Chases the kind of obvious route up by Lightning Gun. CNZ not being too predictable though. The Ghost walks back, so if he heard a piercing sight, this is a really good time to attack. CNZ running anyway, but the Lightning Gun is stuck to him. It is going to be first blood for Toxic. And not a bad amount of health and armor to be left with. He should be able to follow up with control easily.
Tox just pre-firing around the corner, expecting someone to come straight into his nails, but there is not a chance for that just yet. Snatches the Mega over towards the Heavy, but he's a couple of seconds off, meaning CNZ has bolstered his defense ever so slightly. Oh, expected to push up the bounce pad, a lot of damage done, has the better stack.
Wow.
Oh, the quick switch to the rail, that was so smooth.
Amazing stuff. He needed a bit of burst damage there. I quite like CNZ play with a piercing sight to get up the bounce pad safely and attack with the LG as fast as possible. But yeah, Tox had something to say about that.
That was really nice. If he can try and add and get a little bit more from it, it'll be even better. Movement lets him down ever so slightly for once there as he bounces into the side of the wall, comes back over towards their Heavy. He is still landing these rails, but he's now quite low. This is where hopefully he will try and slow down the pace a little bit. Don't get overzealous.
Click? Are we no rail click there?
One will come.
He's going to pick up the rail though soon. Oh, maybe not.
Oh,
He's really wanted the perforation.
so close.
There's the rail. Everything is good in the world of Tox. And just picked off. CNZ's spamming around the corner. I think he'd slightly misread the situation. Tox is going to get an easy one for his third. Wow. Almost again through that transition. Items are up at not too dissimilar time, so what's the right move to make?
This is actually really nice as well. CNZ did get the Heavy, but he rotates in from the back. Toxic plays with the audio cues, gets a big burst of damage off with a rail, starts to strip him of that total stack. CNZ does gain control of the Mega though, so completely negates everything that's just occurred. The jump shot! Oh!
He's just hit the ceiling a little bit. And now, from having committed to that angle, he's given up 2 big items. This is the biggest chance for CNZ to get into this series so far.
There's the Tox click on the rocket. Oh, coming up the bounce pad, but it's not meant to be. Just trying to evade him. Nice use of the movement there in the ghost walk with the darting back and forth, looking for the bait play to try and keep him on his toes. But it's not going to work out too well.
Oh, this is nice. Bit of machine gun. He should still be confident coming out of this. He's actually going to stack up on the side of the rail. I really like this from CNZ. Bit more HP. And unless Tox is nearby, he's not going to hear this get picked up. Yeah, that should be a clean pickup with Tox now only assuming a timing. Next rotation of Heavy is going to be fascinating.
Oh, they're actually just going in to slam in towards each other. This is outrageous. The all-out aggression as they start brawling there, Zoo. It's a 3-2 split still in terms of the frags, but CNZ is starting to chip away and bring it back. He is nibbling at the heels of Tox. Let's see if he can try and devour an entire leg now. That's the LG in hand, Zoo. Oh, he's quick on the chase, but he's knocked back. Slowed down tremendously.
He's got to back away now. Gets himself that piercing sight back. Has Heavy to work on. No need to commit just yet. You've got 5 minutes left on this. And he sees that piercing sight was used, actually. That's a huge clue for him. So, this is actually a pretty massive moment, in my opinion. CNZ knows that if he's able to catch Tox off guard, then he can commit to the kill.
Drops down. Weapon prioritization is everything here, especially with the ammunition he has available to him. He needs to be so on point with the way he plays this.
Oh, God.
The misses, though, Zoo. He's not connecting. That's his final 2 rockets. Expunge. And no damage is dealt. He's peeking as well. He was still exposed. And you give a tiny pixel angle to Tox. Of course he's pixel snipping. He's going to land it every time.
Here's the LG. He's not got enough ammunition, so this is very tricky, actually, for Tox to commit to. Machine gun he's going with, trying to get him below that 90 HP threshold. Gets himself above. Again, really close. If he had more LG ammo, then that was probably the end of it for CNZ. Oh, the rocket! CNZ just takes a heavy blow. He doesn't know what to do with himself anymore, but he is being offered an escape via LG.
He's so lucky to be alive there as well. A few near misses that came out from Tox. The fact he was so restricted on ammo could have been a completely different storyline. Already pushing this to a 5-2. Ghost Walk comes out, isn't trying to go for anything cheeky with it, just using it to escape for the meantime, though.
CNZ playing a little bit timid at the moment, but trying to make some quick reroutes. I don't dislike it. 1 HP, it's got to be the machine gun. It's going to go with the rail and actually connect the shot.
Bit overkill.
double back. It's going to give up the heavy to Tox, who is going to check for it to be there. So hearing that bounce pad, he's going to know heavy was taken a second before. The CNZ is very, very weak.
He has the tactical visor. He will use it. It's given him the true sight. I don't think he's going to have the advantage still. Still struggling when it comes down to the actual combat. Ripped through and left with barely any stack there on 53. Luckily, the timing is flawless. If he wants to, he can grab the Mega and it will save him, coming in at a clutch last second as he was knocked down to about 12 HP left on the stack. Not ideal, but still enough to fight with now as he's got 100 here. But almost at 8 minutes, so.
It seems it doesn't need to commit to anything yet. He's got to be very careful walking into these rooms. If Tox hits an early shot, then escape can be hard. And he's not challenging on the rails. Tox looks really, really good to extend his lead. And here it is with the LG, and unfortunately CNZ in the heat of the moment takes his own life.
Ooh, LG from up top. Trying to spark him up and leave him lifeless on the ground.
Oh, nice, actually.
This is pretty good, actually. If he chases him down here, this could still work out tremendously well. CNZ, though, stripped of his armor. Oh, 10 HP Zoot.
Where did that rail come from? That was awesome.
That was a big man boop.
That was going from having a big, big chance to suddenly just denied. This light armor, I think, is up soon. No rail though for that long-range entry, important one on Molten Falls. Has found a second light, and this is it. He's got to make something happen from here. Forcing the Ghost Walk within 30 seconds is really step one. And I think he... No, he didn't force it. I saw a blurt of blue smoke.
Wishful thinking, Zoot. But it's not meant to be. Here comes the actual confrontation. No, but CNZ, he's actually going to fall himself, overthrown by Tox. And that might be it. This could actually be the sealing of the deal by Tox, especially if he's able to get another frag with a mid-air rocket connection onto CNZ. Wow, like 30 seconds left into the game here. There is nothing that can be done. He finally forces out the Ghost Walk, but it's an escape play from Tox, and he's still alive and kicking.
Yeah, huge plays from Tox. His consistent rail has been keeping him alive and forcing CNZ to think twice about his offense.
Oh, he's just toying with him here as well around the bounce pad.
And you just see the range of angles that Tox will look out for as well. He's just creating new ones all the time. And more rockets there, close to picking himself another. CNZ with a small restack, but we've got seconds to go as it's GG there. Tox now 2-0 up.
Yeah, huge results for him already. Massive stuff. 8 points accumulated, and he's going to be looking to try and get himself the full 16, which, honestly, if he carries on playing with the style he has been, I don't really feel like it's an impossible task. I genuinely think this could be Tox with a clean 3-0 today.
No, exactly. I mean, on two pretty different maps, we've seen... I wouldn't call it a dominant victory on Molten, but certainly creating better opportunities for himself. Now going over to Ruins, I feel like this is something easy for Tox to adapt to, whereas CNZ really hasn't figured out how to go versus him. And it's just been some of these rails, these entries, as soon as CNZ is like, right, I'm ready to go, and he just gets, bam, shut down by a rail shot, something along those lines. And even then, CNZ possibly could have gotten the kill in that instance of the bounce pad. It was still a difficult position for him to play from. But Tox is ready for absolutely everything at the moment.
Tox is just on another level when it comes down to his presence in the server at the minute. And CNZ, I don't really know if he can catch up with that, especially into the third map. His confidence must have taken a bit of a knock as well, with the first two going so dominantly in the favour of Tox. It's worrying.
This moment was really weird on CNZ's side because he committed for so long when he already should have moved back. At that point, he may have even lost two major items after it. And already, you're losing the gap that you try to make so close just because I think he was a little bit stubborn to really let go of what was previously a strong position. As soon as he misses that initial rail, just get out, cut your losses. You can build something better later on.
Yeah, we had a few overcommits where it felt like he just stayed a little bit too long.
Which is unusual because I usually associate that with something Tox would do rather than CNZ. CNZ is, as we said at the beginning, very disciplined usually, and I don't think he's been as disciplined as maybe he could be.
No, yeah.
But he's been very positive this entire stage, but Tox is, I mean, he's in Tox's shadow.
Yeah, and especially it's one of those where Tox, he's such a volatile player, he can go day to day, or, literally just game to game and completely change how he looks on the server. Whereas right now we're hitting a consistent beat of him actually being able to play aggressive, know when to stop and start, use that confidence against the opposition, whereas CNZ basically just taking it. It looks like he's just laid down and accept his fate in a few of those.
And I wonder if there is a little bit about it, which is you're going against the name Tox. And although CNZ's going to be very used to big names like Cooler, for instance, which is well within his own scene, that's going to be something very normal for him. Going versus Tox, this is a name which it reverberates differently around the scene, and it's the aim, and it's something different to go against that maybe him being on the Eastern European side isn't quite as used to handling. It's not as despite them being very good at mechanically, it's far more about the control, psychological, picking up on patterns and so on. And Tox doesn't really play by those same rules.
No, yeah, you can't really learn his routes and be like, all right, I know how he's going to navigate, because Tox doesn't really sort of put himself in those boundaries.
I don't know if he knows what he's doing sometimes. He's just amazing. That's all there is to it.
He just comes in, starts bouncing around like an absolute lunatic, like you can see right now. He'll use that speed and confidence against you, and he'll just always bite back. You cannot put a muzzle on him.
Well, can you get 8 more points is the question. He's already 2-0 up. He's got just the rockets to work with. Still waiting for that LG and rail. He's trying to place a trap. Thing is, CNZ would already have picked up those items, and CNZ is trying to place the trap. So, who will be the trappee? It will still be CNZ as he goes through the upper route, but will drop down towards the heavy armor. Neither of which got off too badly, to be fair. But Tox going to take this moment to finally get himself the rail, which I've definitely been waiting for him to use. And even more so the lightning gun.
Oh yeah. Basically fully stocked with all of the weapons of mass destruction that he will need to provide some godly plays for us. This actually gets so closer than I expected. It's a trade out of both of this. What the hell?
Where did that last rocket come from Tox? He had already hit some insane shots towards the bounce pad before CNZ even dropped down. But that's a brilliant trade either way for CNZ, I think, because he was dominated at the start of the fight. He's still got that akimbo ready and waiting. And HMG is actually a really scary gun for him to be using. Oh, that's a huge hit with the tri-bolt.
CNZ building up a bit more speed. Trying to chase him down. Beautiful connection with the rail. Does pop the akimbo as he wants to try and dual will, but let's see if he can slay today. A few tags coming out with the LG. Not going to get much done, but at least strikes fear into the heart of Tox. Tox still alive and kicking, but barely. Eventually falls as CNZ pushes up close and personal.
Oh, hello.
Straight back in.
Close range tri-bolt, I guess. That's fine. And there's the rail in the air.
Ooh.
Just the sun staring down to his visors. That's a tough one to hit, but 3-1 for CNZ as he's getting himself a good start on Ruins.
Survived on 25 stack as well. Oh, here we go. They've seen each other again. It's back up. Let's see if he can cause the madness. No, can't sport any more pints of blood.
So dual wheel tri-bolt used to be something so damn scary. But unfortunately, CNZ wasn't able to get the same success maybe he would have in the past. That's a step closer for Tox, at least. CNZ getting those hourglasses. Now LG on LG. CNZ not hitting too badly. Tox still trying to find those angles. He'll land it, but so will CNZ. The mega health is going to be up very shortly. There's the rail. Tox spawned off his corpse, gets the weapon, back in, and he's waiting for CNZ to peek that angle.
That was so sick.
I don't think CNZ thought about what he dropped from his corpse.
Just a masterclass there. That was beautiful to witness. And really could start to set Tox up on a warpath now. 3 minutes 30 has gone by. It's a 3-4 scoreline, and Tox is looking to try and tie it up here as they battle over the Mega. It spawns in just in the nick of time to replenish CNZ and keep him alive. Spotted him as he peered in towards the great big eyeball, but they're going to fight up close and personal here. The heavy spawn I thought was going to save him, but no, Tox still overthrows.
He had just so much damage just before the heavy was. There was like 30 HP remaining, but we have got the machine gun. This is a good push, but the acid eliminates him. Well, Tox just with the one in front, but that's going to end pretty much immediately. Still, Tox has done some good work. We've got a very close game on our hands, but we've just got everything going on. He nails himself. And he's back down to 4 with a bunch of resources left for Toxic. Are we going to fight again? We've got so much happening on Ruins.
This is crazy close right now. Both of them playing so well. A lot more aggressive as well. They've let themselves off the leash for this deciding map between them both. CNZ, how is he even breathing at this point? He has been battered and bruised so much as he's limping around. He will fall down.
Oh God.
Toxic goes for the wide swing to
God.
get the opening tag, then goes back for the Mega, and then finds the frag.
Rail angles are more than disgusting at this stage. He's going to chase again. Oh, this is like watching Cypher versus Hron, actually. A little bit of lightning gun to finish the job. Nope, it's going to be the acid instead. Still 10 seconds to the Mega Health. A small moment of weakness now for Tox as he waits for these items. And we're going to get a good push from CNZ. I like that work from him. Now he's actually got a chance to get himself into some item control. But you've got to somehow shut down Tox. 2 good rails. Oh, the rail! That was essential.
That's big. It's the only way he won it. He's going to be walking away as the victor in that kerfuffle. CNZ spots him again. The LG in close proximity. A further frag picked up. It looked like Tox had built a nice bit of lead to work with. Instead, it's almost negated already. As CNZ keeping it close, uses the dual wield so he can establish dominance over the Mega Spawn. Does get it, but can he find any more bang for his buck?
Heavy in a moment. He's just going to have to take this this damage over time for now. This rail come over. Oh my God. Down to 2 health. Health bubble behind him. One more rail. Can't dodge around the corner in time. Tox extends his lead. But he's so weak again. CNZ is looking for a chance to jump right back in against him. He's going to find him. These rails keep hitting. 2 in a row. Mega picked up. Now down to JCap.
LG tagging him from a distance. CNZ though steals the heavy on the reposition. Much better in terms of the stack. A defensive globule going to be used to try and deny the aggression coming out. CNZ, if he drops down, he'll be ever so slightly exposed. It could bode well for Tox, but it will not matter. The super shotgun, up close and personal, is going to riddle him with shrapnel.
Respecting the Tribalt too. I like that. Is this going to work out for him? Has he got enough stack to work with? His aim has been good. CNZ now tying it up. We're at 9-9 here on Ruins. This has been an outrageous game. He wants to commit to this fight. He's looking for the nails down, 5 HP. Oh, going for a rail shot. Can he get the kill with that? I don't think he can. He commits the whole way, and it's the acid that kills him, I think, for the 3rd time this game, Jackie.
That is crazy. Both of them didn't want to peek. They didn't want to make the mistake. Just timidly shooting round the corner, hoping for the push around. The globules come in, you get covered in spit, and you get spat out. That's him going to be going down. A further frag now pushes Tox ever so slightly into the lead. 10-9. There isn't much time left, and that boop from the rocket could be the difference maker. Oh, what?
6 health to go. He's got to watch out for the machine gun. 5 seconds left until this Mega's up. This is the longest 5 seconds ever. Machine gun will take him down. Tox manages to deny him of that item. And he is back into the lead again as we go back and forth here. Lightning gun back on him. The heavy armor is taken by CNZ. Now it's 11-11. Who the hell is going to win Ruins?
This is crazy. So lucky he was able to get rid of the damage over time as well, removes the globule effect from himself, starts to rebuild that stack again. The lights are going to be what he wants to scavenge right now, hoping to get a little bit more armor to build up that stack, because both of them have looked so strong when it comes down to their individual fights right now.
So this is now normally the time where it kind of slows down a little bit while, you know, you've got to the important part of the match where you're starting to determine who is going to take the victory. You see it happening as well when you get to sudden deaths too. There's only a limit to how much chaos there can be, right? Surely.
Well, let's see if that limit is going to be removed, if things are going to get uncapped here, as they both are back at it again. Headbutting between each other. CNZ worse for wear when it comes to the stack, but he's in a prime position to steal away another heavy pickup.
It's a huge pickup. He really, really needed that. Makes a big, big difference for him. Here's Mega, so his timing's good. Tox might be a little bit unfamiliar with heavy timing, but we'll see that in due course. CNZ needs rockets, but honestly his lightning gun has been winning him a lot.
He's got the dual wield.
He's set up so early as well, but you kind of have to as well if you're anticipating your opponent. Watch out for the rail. He's been stood still for a long time. Another rail out. Gets the dodge. He couldn't possibly be hit by another. There's no way he would survive. Oh, he misses up the movement a little bit with 20 seconds to go. Tox walks all over him, looking for those 16 points. They're going to run into each other.
Oh, what the back of the spawn too! If he gets the kill now, he could have tried to stay in the game, but no, it's not meant to be. It's all coming up Tox, as he will secure himself that frag straight away. CNZ's already out of the server. He has had enough, as Tox has locked it down. Oh.
CNZ really saw himself getting that last bit, right? He saw that machine gun could absolutely have happened.
He had the spawn, he had the positioning. It was like, right, this is it. It's going to OT out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It provided us such a fantastic game already, but it could have been more.
It was insane. There's like a million things to break down in that. And there's also, you don't even have to. We just saw it.
It spoke for itself,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Crazy game.
These rockets here from Tox were insane. Actually, how the hell did this trade happen? That last fade away rocket as he died. That was mental. We saw it at the end. It was 2 rails to CNZ, I think, that opened it up. And that little bit of... Oh, that was awesome. That little bit of movement, just slippage right here where CNZ stood now. I mean, that possibly cost him the game, but what a thrilling map 3 where CNZ screaming to get himself some points from the series. Tox screaming to get even more.
Man, Tox back in action. Wow, looking revitalized. It's like a young man on the server again.
Honestly, unexpected for me. I think Tox has found it hard to find his feet in the Quake Pro League as of late.
Yes.
And, I mean, this is something that, if he relies on confidence, if he's had any confidence, he's going to have more after this series, because that feels good. Especially when CNZ's been playing at a very strong caliber, in my opinion. I've got so many good things to say about him, but so many more now about Tox just after that.
Yeah. There was a couple of, I'd say, near misses with the rail that obviously if could have been completely tuned out and we would have had ultimate Tox on the server, he would have been even better. But for the most part, the decision making is what for me has won in the game today. He seems like he's really taken a new approach to things.
100%. We had some insane LG actually from CNZ. Even though he's going up against like a large target, it's a stacked target, and you can't afford to make mistakes in those instances.
This fight. It was the world's most awkward battle.
I just wanted a rail to come out from CNZ. I didn't actually quite see the HP that Tox had, but I was like, he really nearly could have got the kill. And there, he just stuck on that tiny little mini pillar. He could have got away quite possibly from that point. That was the nail in the coffin there. What a game. That was insane. Absolute insanity.
If that was a missed rail, or if he was just able to get a couple more tags off early on as he came around the corner with a machine gun, wow, we could have had an overtime. But instead, we have a Tox 3-0. That's going to be some big points wide straight over for him that will actually, help him quite a lot in terms of the standings.
That's going to be pretty significant for him, actually, leading over to Poland.
Yeah.
Important victories for him. CNZ's certainly not down and out, but now he really has to have some like Hron, has to be focused on having a good outro to stage 2 to avoid being up for relegation.
That's the worst bit, is it does put a lot more pressure on you, where now mentally you're thinking, I pretty much have to win every game I have left to play in Quake Pro League, which obviously can be a bit of a strain on you every time you're going into games constantly thinking that, but we'll see how things develop, obviously, over the course of the season, as we're pretty deep in. Week 7, Tox coming in with a big win, 16 points this late. That's huge.
Yeah, that's absolutely. We've got another match coming up next, though, so let's put our eyes on that, because I think we've also got some content to show. We have got our boy Dewey and our boy Dramis, who will be coming up. And I think we'll be hearing from Dewey himself in a moment. This guy's a really eloquent, articulate speaker. Always delightful to hear from him. I can certainly see Dewey taking down this series, but I expect it to be actually quite close. Depending on how Dramas has been really kind of mounting up as a sort of a solid up-and-comer professionally. But Dewey's also just got one of those styles that's very difficult to go against.
Oh yeah, I think Dramus has been looking better by the day throughout the Quake Pro League, and he really has become a talent that people are scared of to play against now. But Dewey, ever since his arrival, he has definitely had some tricks up his sleeve, and I think his playstyle has been catching people off guard. But what does he have to say for himself? We're going to be going into an interview with Dewey to get you guys really excited for this matchup.
Hello everybody and welcome to Quake Pro League, where today I am sat down with Dewey. So I want to talk about your kind of journey. You're on the first stage of QPL. How are you finding the format and competing against weekly top tier competition?
I think the format's pretty friendly to my playstyle. I like to prepare for my matches and get a feel for who I'm playing and how they like to address the game. So I think the format's pretty friendly. It's super player friendly to only have to play one match every Sunday. I think they've kind of addressed some of the feedback on the challengers. So we've got the challengers. They qualify for a final tournament now, and they don't have to play 4 or 5 hours every Saturday. So definitely, like, the format's in really good shape, and I think everybody's pretty happy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, since your opening game against Rafa, you've gone on to win the following 4 games. How do you kind of view yourself within the QPL ecosystem? Do you kind of see yourself as being able to break through to be top 2?
I think that realistically, looking at the points, this stage, by the end of the online segment, I could potentially be top 4 or top 5 in North America. I think advancing much higher than that's going to be difficult, strictly because of who has to play who and those types of things. So, but I mean, considering I started as the 9th seed, much lower than everybody else, I'd still say that's a big success. I've now beaten the 3rd and 4th seeds, so I definitely, in my mind, I kind of know where I sit. But it's really just about trying to win each match each week and not really worrying about the seeding all that much. I mean, there's only so much you can control, and if you can win your matches, like, you're doing your part, and the rest will eventually take care of itself, whether it's this stage or the next stage or the stage after that, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I kind of want to touch upon that and your matchup this week against Dramus, who's been somewhat inconsistent within QPR. He's kind of been able to hang with some of the very best, but then be upset by some competition maybe we wouldn't expect him to be upset by. What is your kind of approach going into this, and how have you been preparing to face him?
I think this is kind of a testament to Dramus's play style. He tends to kind of be a little more aggressive, and I think depending on a player's aim that given day, it can pay off at times, which can enable him to do things like take maps off of Rafa or to hang. Although I think in both of their situations, they let him play his best map and one of his best champs, and that really hurt them pretty badly, and that's what ultimately cost them those maps. But I think generally Dramus has been kind of in the 4 to 6 range in terms of rank in North America, at least in terms of skill. So he's always been a pretty high skilled player. I think it is impressive that he's been able to take a couple of maps off of the top players. But in terms of my approach against him, It doesn't really change from week to week. I try not to get hyped up for a match or anything like that, because I think it's a bad habit to get into. If you do something like that in a tournament, you can burn yourself out, and then your capacity to go deep in a tournament is just completely gone. So I think I just try and take it like another match and treat him like I've treated Nosfa, Saigib, Waz, and Genic, and even Rafa. So, you know, I think with Rafa it's a matchup issue. It's typically pretty hard for me to beat him in competition. But most of the other NA players, I feel I have a good chance of winning against at least.
Well, you yourself, you qualified through the Quake Challenger League. Are there any players that you think maybe haven't come into the public eye as much that you think could be potential contenders in the future?
Steege and Dandy King, I think, are two of the most talented players on the planet. It's still going to be interesting if they qualify with their ping and the time of day for them that they'll be playing. It'll be difficult online, but for them, I mean, just getting to LAN is Dan, in my opinion, is one of the best LAN players on the planet. For the quality of practice that he typically gets, and the lack of depth in Australia for him to show up, and I think most of the LANs he's been to, he's been at least top 8. That's pretty insane, considering EU. There's so much to practice against and so many players, and NA even. I mean, there's at least some depth beyond Rafa and Dehang, maybe 3 or 4 players that are, really good practice for them to get them prepared. So considering that Dan and Steege have always kind of been able to advance, I think once they kind of come up through challengers and get to LAN, I think they're going to be always contending at the events.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today, and good luck in this weekend's matchups.